Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, we are going to be doing another D&D 3.5 guide, and today we are going to be talking about Spellcaster Skills, and we're going to be talking about the 3 skills that every single spellcaster, at least that wants to go into epic levels, should, at least especially those ones, although I think all probably should do these. These are the 3 skills that all spellcasters, full spellcasters, should be heavily invested in, and probably put full ranks in. Alright, so let's get started. First off is concentration. It's very, very important for a full spellcaster to have this. Taking any sort of... There's so many things that can cause concentration checks to happen. And if you have to make a concentration check while casting a spell and you fail it, well, there goes the spell. You just lost it. And for the most part, it counts as if you cast it and it failed. That is what the rules say. Now, it's not entirely quite accurate. Now, if it's a super long one, like if it's a minute long or an hour long or 10 minutes long, and you fail it like a minute in, well, you don't have to finish that timeout, is why I say that. Like, if it's an hour long and you get distracted a minute in and lose the spell, well, you know, at least you didn't lose the full hour. You only lost a minute of it. So that's something, although you still want to avoid that because you still are out the spell slot. And that's a problem. So you really, really want to... You really want to make sure you're not losing those spell slots. If you're casting a spell, you want to make sure it works. So yeah, you're going to want to make sure you max out concentration to have the highest chance possible of that. Because there are so many things that can require it. Somebody attacks you while you're casting a spell. If it's a standard action and they're in range, they can attack you. Or you can attempt to make a DC 15 plus spell level check in order to make sure that that doesn't happen and that they don't get an attack of opportunity. It's called casting defensively. It's a pretty good option. Now, another thing that you can potentially do is you can decide that, hey, I'm going to instead of doing that, what you can do is you can some other reasons why you can do that. Or if you decide not to cast defensively, maybe you have a high AC. Well, guess what? If they attack you, you have to make a concentration check equal to the damage plus 10, or else lose the spell. So that's an option. If you have really good AC, it might not be a terrible option. Or if you think the attack's going to be weak, might not be a terrible option. So again, concentration though. So you want that concentration very, very high. Probably max ranks. Other reasons for it, like there could be like a storm going on, that can add a little bit. Maybe you're on a boat, that can be a concentration check. Those ones aren't particularly hard, but it's still good to keep that up because you always add your spell level to it. So it's going to be at least a little bit harder because of that. And you may have to make multiples. So it's very important to get that really, really high. Maybe somebody's put something, hit you with something that's doing damage over time. Well, you're going to be taking half of that anytime you want to cast any sort of spell is going to be applied. So you're going to have to make a DC 10 plus half the damage that was dealt by that damage over time spell in that last round, plus the spell's level, or lose the spell. Like, you really, really, really need to make that happen. It's super, super important. And you just want it as high as possible. Another interesting fact about it, another thing is if you get grappled, guess what? That's pretty hard to make a concentration check. And even then you're limited to spells without somatic components. Except you're not really... you actually can cast with somatic components, although not until decent ways into Epic, because it's a DC 50 plus spell level check to cast a spell with somatic components while grappled. Somehow you manage to figure out how to do that. It's tough, but guess what? That's super worth it once you get to epic levels. And you're really, really going to want that ability in case you get grappled, and now you can suddenly make that crazy concentration check, which is going to be pretty high, like potentially DC 59, because it's 50 plus spell level. That's going to be hard to do. So yeah, you're going to want a lot of ranks in that, as many as you can get. So yeah, definitely concentration, 100% one that you should be doing. Another that really needs max ranks if you want to really be a spellcaster, especially going into epic, and that is Spellcraft. There are so many uses for Spellcraft. It's really great for being able to identify an enemy spellcaster spell. Super great for that. But aside from just being able to identify more and more complex spells to give you and the rest of your party some information on the enemy, which is really great, once you get into epic levels, you really need Spellcraft, because one, you need 24 ranks of it to get epic spellcasting, which is insane, and you definitely want epic spellcasting if you are an epic spellcaster, because the epic spells are so much more powerful than the ones in the player's handbook, the non-epic spells. Yeah, like even the ones in the spell compendium, like the epic spells are insane, and there's truly no limit to how strong they can get. The thing is, the stronger the spell is, the higher the Spellcraft DC you have to make in order to be able to figure out how to do it. From what I've seen of playthroughs, it's actually similar to the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Could be wrong on that one. I've only seen like 1 or 2 playthroughs, but from what I recall, that's how the spellcasting system in that game worked, more or less. So yeah, the stronger the spell is, the higher the Spellcraft DC, and you want those strong ones, because they all just count as an epic level spell slot. So you want as strong as spells as you can get in there, but it does take a lot of effort to get those, and it does require Spellcraft. And the higher, so you want max ranks in that in order to be able to cast them. Yeah. So the next one that you really, really want is knowledge in your appropriate area. So if you're a wizard or sorcerer, knowledge arcana. If you're a cleric, knowledge religion. If you're a druid, knowledge nature. If you're a scion, I know it's not magic, but scions kind of follow the same rules as this. You're going to want knowledge psionics in order to be able to do epic manifesting, which I'd assume is the same rules as epic spellcasting. And I suspect most DMs would agree with that, since magic and psionics are kind of the same thing. I do plan to do a video on that at some point. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, the reason why you want knowledge so high is, well, one, it can become really, really handy for a number of different things. Like it's just useful for a lot of different skills. You can make knowledge checks to gain info about enemies that you know are coming up, or enemies that you see in front of you. Like if they happen to be the right kind of enemy, you can make a check and get a lot of kind of force the DM to give you a ton of info. The higher the check, the more. Like if you roll high enough, the DM's basically gonna have to be like, okay, here's the book, here's what their stats are. But they got to roll pretty high for that one though. So that's one use for it. Another major use, especially when you get into epic, is the number of epic spell slots that you have for your particular class. So for is equal to your ranks in in knowledge, not your score. So your intelligence doesn't matter. It's just the ranks. You take the ranks, divide that by 10, and that's how many spell slots you have. And I believe it's rounded down too. So in order to get 3, you're going to need 30 ranks. And you need 24 ranks in this in order to get into epic spellcasting to begin with. So yeah, which makes sense. It's impossible to get that many ranks until 21st level epic. So that's part of why they do that. But yeah, you're going to want as many ranks as possible, because more epic spell slots, and epic spell slots are really, really good. Yeah, you only are going to get a few of them. Start off with, 2, and then every 10-ish levels or so. Oh, the first one you'll get a little quicker, but every 10 levels you'll basically get another spell slot. That's not a lot. And it's going to take you a long time to get more of them, but they're really good, and they're well worth it. So yeah, and you can, if you're multi-classing in different spellcasting classes, you can actually mix and match. You can actually get like both. So if you happen to have knowledge arcana and knowledge nature, and you're a wizard druid, well, guess what? You're going to be able to cast epic spells for both, and they are separate lists. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. That is a really good thing. So those are the 3 skills you really, really want to keep maxed out as a spellcaster. Concentration, so you don't drop spells ever. Spellcraft for a number of reasons, but especially at epic levels, so that you can gain access to the most powerful spells in the game, which is kind of a redundant thing because there is no such thing. It can always get more powerful, but you want that so that you can get more and more and more powerful, and just keep that power level going up, so you get the most bang for each of those limited epic spell slots. And finally, you want knowledge of your respective skill, of your respective knowledge for your class, in order to get the most spell slots possible. Because those spell slots are very, very valuable, and you want as many of them as you can get. You're not going to get a lot, but everyone counts, and they're all worth a ton. So yeah, those are the 3 skills that you definitely want to keep maxed out as a caster, at least a full caster. If you're like a ranger or a paladin, like whatever. But if you're a full caster, yeah, bard, hard to say with bard. But if you're like a wizard or a druid or a sorcerer or a cleric or a scion, or a number of the other ones that are in the various other books, like the Beguiler, those are all ones where you'd want to keep that skill maxed out. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. That really helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. And as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you